Redesigning jobs and creating more flexible work arrangements for the senior workforce are some challenges human resource professionals may face in the near future as our retirement age is set to increase. Peter Hamilton is Vice President of Asia Pacific Director at Kelly OCG. It's a consultancy on workforce solutions, and he joins us in studio to talk to us more about this. Peter, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
So what are your thoughts then and your experiences with human capital and as people get older and the benefits that an experienced workforce can bring?
We know that experienced workers are mature, they have great technical knowledge, usually great interpersonal skills, and they've got life experience, which younger workers don't have. What we're finding is, though, that as they get older, they don't necessarily want to work full-time. They want more flexible arrangements, and organisations that are smart about that are able to engage them for longer.
And so then the organisations always have to take the onus on this and take the first step in sort of navigating pathways for workers as they get older.
Well, the way that talent wants to work and the way that organisations want to be engaged talent is changing. People do have to take more responsibility for their careers, but I also think HR also has to take responsibility as new technologies come on board and roles change. We're going to transition as automation really hits, so it's the responsibility of the worker, but also the responsibility of the organisation.
Now, you mentioned automation and the fact that it's an inevitability, it's coming, and it's going to bring with it a lot of people needing to reskill, change jobs perhaps, and adapt to fit around it. Do you see that as perhaps being the bigger challenge then?
Well, I think automation will bring benefits as well, so that will take some of the mundane tasks away, but there will be transition into new work. We're pretty optimistic that new roles will be created that we don't even know about, but it's undoubtedly some workers will be left behind, and therefore organisations who are smart, thinking ahead of the game, need to think about how to transition their workforce in a responsible manner. The biggest concern that we see is that organisations aren't investing enough into training and development.
And what do you think the reason is for that? It's just they're not looking far enough ahead? It's just not an immediate concern?
I think we're very bad at predicting the future. That's the reality. The digital revolution, we're still seeing companies operate with paper today. So whilst automation is a real thing and the potential is there, I think organisations are hedging their bets as to how fast things will really change.
And I suppose different countries and different markets are moving at different speeds with this as well.
And different industries and different skill sets, yeah.
So how are you seeing it play out in Singapore then? Are you seeing a concerted effort to make this something that is on the minds, at the forefront of HR practitioners?
I think it should be on the forefront of HR practitioners. I think there's more happening in the media. There's certainly lots of organisations out there who are encouraging organisations to automate and therefore are going to be disruptors. But I still think there are the larger organisations with larger workforces that are laggards in this respect.
Now, you did say something earlier that a lot of the onus will fall on the individual when it comes to this. So what advice would you give for people in their 40s and 50s that are hearing news that this is coming down the pipe and they're going to be working for longer, possibly, if they choose to, or if they sort of need to, and how are they supposed to adapt and prepare for it?
I think just be ready for change. Don't resist it. It's a cliche, but if you see opportunities to spot trends, be encouraged by that, take advantage of those. But again, I think the organisation also has responsibility for helping you, direct you and steer you. If your job's going to change, how is it going to change? The fundamentals of business are still going to be the same. Maybe the systems and the process and the way you get work done will be different. But if you're in your 40s and 50s and older, you're going to have a lot of great experience. And I think don't be afraid, but just look out for those opportunities to extend yourself.
And we do see a lot of a shift in sort of the human resource aspect of things, the gig economy, for example, that organizations aren't, what they used to be. It wasn't a job for life as such. So how do companies first sort of think about their employees in that way?
Well, the gig economy is very real and rising dramatically. About a third of workers are employed by the gig economy globally. In fact, APAC has a very high adoption rate. 84% of talent acquisition partners had worked with a gig worker or engaged a gig worker. So there's obviously good adoption within the APAC region. And so I think it's already happening. Gig workers tend to be highly skilled, career motivated. It's actually this workers who are retraining and making themselves relevant.
Yeah, I suppose they are probably ahead of the game in many respects. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.
Insight with us. Peter Hamilton, Vice President and Asia Pacific Director for Kelly OCG.